So I recently made a little observation that I thought would be fun to share. You know how there's this narrative in red pill spaces that women will just resort to shaming men or asking who hurt you and trying to discredit them via personal attacks rather than engaging with the actual arguments? Well, I used to criticise young adult literature on YouTube and I would get loads of 12-year-old girls in my comments who would demonstrate this exact behaviour, who would never refute any of my criticisms, but would just say things like, "You're fat and ugly and no one likes you. That's why you're so bitter. You're just mad. You could never write anything this good. Oh my god, ugly bitch, you're so jealous. Ooh, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. You're obviously just stupid. That's why you don't get how smart this book is. I don't even have to explain why I'm right. It's so obvious." And now that I'm being somewhat critical of a lot of red pill ideas, I'm now getting a load of adult men in my comment section saying things like, "You're ugly and must be mad because the men you want don't want you. You're just jealous, men are superior. Bitter woman who's hit the wall. You're obviously just stupid. That's why you don't get how smart this red pill idea is. I don't even have to explain why I'm right. It's so obvious." Which, firstly, if you think a woman in her 20s is beyond reproductive age, I'm concerned about your knowledge of basic biology. I don't think you're qualified yet for the red pill evolutionary truth. I would advise you to go back to school if I didn't think you'd be a danger in the playground. But also, isn't it interesting how the same people who say women can't engage with logic are these same people resorting to personal attacks and shaming? Because the only thing they value women on is how we look, I think they think women also only care about our appearance. So if they tell me I'm not pretty, they're really hoping it will hurt my feelings and lead me to the realization that I am totally without value. You know, like how they feel on the inside. Which might mean a lot more if I thought any of them actually interacted with women in real life and not just via sending humiliation porn super chats to OnlyFans girls on Fresh and Fit. You know, the sort of messages that get out to years of built-up frustration they'd have neither the guts nor the opportunity to say to a woman's face. And honestly, boys, not that I want any of you to feel like I don't appreciate your valiant effort to conquer the English language and string it together into something resembling an effective insult. None of you are beating the 12-year-old girls in pure verbal brutality and picking out my insecurities. And I really can't tell if that makes it more or less embarrassing for you. Leave your vote down in the comments below. Lots of them also really enjoy inventing this sordid backstory for me to justify why I must believe the things I do without actually refuting any of my arguments. They imagine this gritty, alcohol-infused haze of an endless string of one-night stands and being tossed aside by men. Some of them get really into it, there's characters and everything. Let it never again be said that fanfiction is a female-dominated domain. But these imaginary reasons they're 100% certain really happened. Source: trust me bro, I watch Rollo's streams and now totally understand women. I'm psychically picking up on her entire history. Sleeping around and then being deeply hurt by a series of strong alpha men could of course be the only possible reason I would be capable of thinking up arguments against their unhinged worldview. Gosh, all those flings must have been brilliant to give me such brain power. Goodness gracious, gentlemen, you shall make me blush. I wonder what sorts of things went on to have given me so many ideas. It's terribly convenient, you see. All women who disagree with me are sluts. Then they work backwards from that premise. Ah, a woman disagrees, therefore a slut. And if I accuse her of that, I don't have to justify my brain rot. Logic. It's very interesting how you often get extreme leftist men and extreme red pillars coming together to accuse any woman who disagrees with them of being a whore or a harlot or, God forbid, wearing stockings. Interesting insight, I would suggest, into the darker sides of male psychology, perhaps. A woman demonstrating any kind of sexuality. Well, they like that, but they also don't. Some of them leave paragraphs and paragraphs of, well, pure cope, to be honest, ignoring everything I've said in the video and just explaining my life story back to me and why I think the way I do, which is fascinating because I discover things about myself I never knew. Did you guys know that I started being passed around at age 15 by bad boys? Me neither. I thought I was in a long-term relationship with an absolute sweetheart at the time, but I must have misremembered because @masculine_valor says I've been hoeing on the streets with very dangerous men since preschool. Yes, I think my favourite thing about red pillars is how absolutely founded in truth and reality they are. Oh, and also they never gossip or make things up because, well, that's feminine. If any of you would care at all for my 2 cents on the matter, the personal attacks rather than valid arguments were embarrassing and irrational when 12-year-old girls did it, and they're more embarrassing and irrational when adult men incapable of maintaining a healthy relationship with a real-life woman do it. I think they might actually be the least self-aware group I've ever come across, which is ironic, considering being unself-aware, illogical, and unable to take accountability are all the things they blame women for being. Not to be too much of an, armchair psychologist, but one could call it projection. I just thought you might want to know, boys, that your comments are indistinguishable from the comments I used to get from stroppy preteen girls, except for the fact these stroppy preteen girls were more inventive and they really put their whole chests into the insults. And anyway, I was thinking that that's probably the reason why women don't want anything to do with you. So I hope that's helpful. That's all. New video on Nepo babies coming soon. Stay snazzy.